What I wanted to do today is to start to have a really big conversation with you guys. Bigger than the ones we've been having. Same conversation, but on a grander scale. So we've really been focused around this enormous issue and concern and conversation around privacy, but we've really kind of kept the conversation focused on social media, because it's easy to see it there in Facebook. It's easy to get your mind around it. But now that we're ready with our Small World trial, we want to expand that conversation to the much bigger conversation we're actually a part of. And this is such a general concern out there in the marketplace around privacy. I'm going to share a little bit later a video that Mark Cuban, most people know him as the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, the billionaire technology guy. He's on Shark Tank, but he put a video out there of the most important thing that people are doing wrong in social media. And that happens to be something that we have solved with our Small World mobile app strategy. And it's this whole idea around how dangerous the current way of sharing information actually is when you slow down to think about it. When you slow down to realize that when you send somebody a text or when you send somebody a message, the minute you hit send and that leaves you, you kind of lose control and ownership, and it becomes under the control and influence and ownership of the person that receives it, and they can do different things, share with people you don't know. It's just out of your control. And many companies out there, many of the most valuable companies now in the world are trying to solve this problem. Companies like Snapchat, which is, I think, worth over $10 billion now. And there are about a handful of other companies, and the way they're trying to solve it is by having these messages disappear after a certain amount of time. And that might be a way to solve it. We think there's a much better way that doesn't require people to messages to disappear. Me personally, I wouldn't want my messages to disappear. I like to be able to go back historically and look back at things that were said and things I've shared and that kind of thing. But for many of you to help get your mind around how our system works, here's just a really quick example for now, but we're going to get more into this later. But I think the light bulb's going to really go off for you right now, at least for some of you. If let's just say we rolled out these small worlds and people are out there in these small worlds, and we roll out the Passport app, which is the mobile app access into these small worlds that allows you to jump from world to world to world to world. Well, really the way it works is it allows us to not change the behavior of people at all and how they interact and receive messages from people, but to have what the message does be completely different. So let's imagine that I got a notification that I got a message from Tom, Dick, and Harry. So when I click on my Passport app, when I click on the message from Tom and it opens up in Passport, I am now actually in Tom's small world looking at that message. It never left his small world. It was never sent out into the world anywhere. And when I click on what I say, Tom, Dick, and Harry, Dick's message, it takes me, again, when that message opens up, I'm no longer in Tom's world, and I'm now in Dick's world. And when I click on Harry's message, and it opens up for me to read it, I'm now in Harry's small world. The powerful thing about what we've done with our strategy and our design and our product is that when you create a message in small worlds and you share it with somebody else in small worlds, it never leaves your small world. So you talk about privacy and ownership and ability and limiting all those things you're going to see Mark Cuban talked about. We're super excited about the conversation we're in. Here's this really exciting thing. This creates a very compelling reason for a single person to want to have a small world. Even if they don't want to have share it with their entire family, just to have for themselves. And so that they can share in this private way and control their data and wait till you see the Mark Cuban video. I'm not going to steal his thunder. But it's very, very exciting what the way we change the game, or the potential we have to change this game. All these other companies are trying to do it a completely different way than the way we are. We think that the small world and getting people in your private loop is the way to go. And we're excited to be in a big conversation like that. It's a big conversation. It's a big money conversation. It's a big interest conversation. What I mean by interest conversation means that tens and tens and tens of millions of people are already aware and will be made more aware as all these other companies come out and start educating them on why they need to have, these messages that disappear or whatever the method they're using to solve this problem. We think we're on something really, really big. We're excited to see what we can do with you in terms of building a brand, a national brand, a global brand, and for nothing else, we can be the alternative method of solving this big, big issue that everybody's wrapped up will very soon be made very much aware of. So I wanted to start to have that big conversation with you now. We're going to have more in-depth explanations, but a lot of you get it. When you watch the Mark Cuban video and you understand, he does a great job of explaining why people need to be really aware of what happens when they send a message out. And when you realize that our solution, you don't even send a message out to the world. But the genius is that the user experience is no different than if we had. It doesn't change at all. People get a notice, they click on a notice, they read a message. And that's going to be that's a powerful thing. So hopefully the light continues to go off for some of you. And for those of you that the light's been off, hopefully it's just getting brighter and brighter and brighter until it shines like 10,000 suns.